Good Sunday morning, my little Sunday morning littles. I hope you had a marvelous week. We are up to lesson 3 in our series of lessons on Joseph. So let's review just a little bit about the last 2 lessons that we've talked about. If you remember, the very first lesson in this series was about Joseph and him being a dreamer. He had some dreams, if you remember those. And in his dreams, most everything in the dreams were bowing down and worshiping him or giving respect to him. If you remember that about his dreams, he was a little bit of a tattletale and did a lot of tattling on his brothers, and his brothers were not too fond of him for that. As we moved into lesson 2, we learned a lot about Joseph's coat of many colors, and we learned that he was the favorite son of Jacob, and Jacob had 12 sons, and Joseph was his favorite. Now, in last week's lesson, we did learn a little bit of some sad things that happened to Joseph as he was sold into slavery. And we do remember that his brothers kept his coat of many colors and made his father Jacob think that a wild animal had tore Joseph to shreds and that he was dead. Now, throughout those 2 lessons, I encouraged you to get along with your brothers and sisters, and I encouraged you to, to try to be kind to them. And I also encouraged you to use the lesson in a way that related to your life. And so today we are going to start lesson 3 on Joseph, and his life seems to be going in ups and downs like a big roller coaster, because at the end of lesson 2 he had been sold into slavery, which was not a great thing. But he was going to a royal official in Egypt, and we kind of thought maybe things might look up for him because living in royalty may not be so bad. And so we thought about that at the end of our lesson. Now, today, throughout our lesson, I want you to relate this lesson to your life in doing what's right, even if someone else tries to get you to do it, knowing that it's wrong. You shouldn't do things, right, that you've been told not to do, or that would not please God, right? So today in this little lesson about Joseph, there's also going to be a point where you see someone not tell the truth. Someone in this story today is going to tell a lie, a big lie that gets people in trouble. So I want you to kind of think about times in your life when you wanted to do what's right, you knew what was right, even though someone was telling you to do something that you know was wrong, you stood your ground and you did what was right. And then I also want you to think about always telling the truth so it doesn't get someone else into trouble. Okay, so here's some things that you can use in this lesson to relate in your little lives, all right? Okay, so this lesson is called Joseph and Potiphar's Wife, and it comes from Genesis, the 39th chapter, verses 1 through 23, all right? Now, I have this funny little picture here, and I just want you to look at it for just a second because it is kind of giving you a hint that in this lesson as well, there's going to be an article of clothing that's really, really important. So whenever I did lesson 2 and we did the coat of many colors, we kind of thought about Joseph's coat and the significance of it. Well, there's going to be another article of clothing in this little lesson. And if you're watching these lessons in order, you're going to see that this article of clothing is important as well too. All right. So in this picture, this is Joseph. Of course, this is Potiphar's wife, and the Bible does not tell me her name. I just know that she's Potiphar's wife, so that's how I'm going to refer to her in our story. Okay. And I just thought that this was a cute little picture. to kind of introduce you to the story, if you can tell, Joseph's face in this picture looks a little bit frightened, a little bit worried. Potiphar's wife's face looks a little mischievous or like she's doing something that maybe she shouldn't do. Okay, so we're going to relate all this to our story. We're going to go to our very first picture, and once again, of course, there's quite a bit of words, and Miss Michelle's going to do the reading of the words. You concentrate on the pictures. Okay, all right. Joseph now lived in an Egyptian official's royal palace. He was a servant still, of course, but he was a servant of the official whose name was Potiphar, and he was doing a fantastic job at whatever Potiphar asked him to do. He soon was promoted by Potiphar to take care and oversee the entire royal household. Wow. Now, Joseph, who was sold into slavery into Potiphar's home, was really good at whatever Potiphar asked him to do. And he soon was promoted or made the chief servant. I mean, he was running the household. Now, think about royalty and think about how big Potiphar's home must have been. And then there's measly little Joseph. He's running the whole household. So Potiphar had really put a lot of trust into Joseph, and he felt like he was the man to take over and run his household. Wow, he was must have really been doing well there. Yeah. Potiphar's wife, however, was not a very trustworthy lady. Oh no. Now this is Joseph here, and this is Potiphar's wife. To be trustworthy means that you always tell the truth and that you are kind and you do things that are right and people can put dependency in you. Well, she was not very trustworthy. She began to tempt Joseph while he was working. She wanted to do things that were not right. Joseph, however, was a good man, and he knew that the things that Potiphar's wife wanted him to do was wrong, and he told her no. She even wanted Joseph to be her boyfriend, and she was married to the official Potiphar. Not good, right? Potiphar's wife was becoming extremely aggravated that Joseph would not submit to her. One day, when she was tempting him, he turned to run away, and she grabbed his cloak or coat, and she kept it. Do you remember another time Joseph's coat was taken? Yeah, I remember that time too, in our second lesson, when his brothers took his coat of many colors and kept it. Yeah. Now, they did something with Joseph's coat at that time that was wrong. It was deceitful. It wasn't the truth. They took that coat and dipped it in goat's blood, if you remember, and gave it to Jacob, which was Joseph's father, and told him that Joseph had been killed, right? And that was all a lie. That wasn't the truth, right? Okay, well, you're going to see that this coat that Potiphar's wife takes from Joseph, there's going to be another lie told over this coat. Yeah. All right, so take a really good look at the pictures. I think that they kind of show you Joseph here telling Potiphar's wife no. He knows what she wants him to do is wrong. And then look how aggravated she looks here. Yeah, and she takes his coat. Right? She was so mad that Joseph had not done as she wished that she took the cloak to her husband, Potiphar, and told a big lie on Joseph. She told Potiphar that Joseph wanted her to be his girlfriend. Oh my goodness, that was not true. No. But Potiphar believed his wife, and he became very upset, and he threw Joseph into prison. After he had promoted Joseph to be the person that ran his household, all of his trust in Joseph was gone when his wife, Potiphar's wife, told a big lie on him. Yeah, he did. Now, I want you to look at this picture. It says, "Oh no, another bad situation in Joseph's life. It's not pleasant in prison, but Joseph trusted God." Now, he's had some very unpleasant things happen to him in his lifetime. He was thrown in that pit, if you remember that. Yeah. And he was sold into slavery. And we thought last week that that was going to work out really well for him because he was in a royal palace. But now he's in prison, all because of a lie, all because of something that wasn't true. So I want you to think a little bit as you go through your week this week. If you think that telling a lie is going to help things, it's not. It's not the right thing to do, okay? If you think that trying to get someone to do something that you want them to do, but they know is wrong, is a good thing, that's not either. That's not either. So I want you to think about some times in your little lives that you may have told something that may not have been true. And, a lot of times we've got to go back and we've got to tell the truth, and we've got to apologize for maybe doing something wrong. There are things in Joseph's story that your little brains and your little lives can relate to. Okay? So I want you to tune in next week, because next week we're going to see what happens to Joseph while he's in prison. The one thing that I want you to remember is Joseph trusted God. He said, well, if I'm here for a reason. Let's see what it is. Okay? Now, littles, we'll do lesson number 4 next week. I know this lesson wasn't tremendously long. It wasn't. But I want you to think about it. I want you to keep it in mind. So when you tune in next week, you'll see what happens in this series of lessons with Joseph. I hope that you have a great week. My prayer for you this week is that it's a happy week, a healthy week, and a safe week. And I will be so excited whenever I get to see your sweet little faces again. But until then, I will see you right here. Have a great week, littles. Love you.